Okay, it's all set. Thank you.
Alrighty. Does anyone know if Kristen's supposed to be here today or planning to be on?
Did he say anything last time about not being here?
Well, you know what?
Just to make sure that.
I don't know why.
And Jerry?
Jerry will not be joining us today. She does know she has the opportunity of
Gotcha.
video conferencing in and everything set up, but she is not going to be able to.
Is this,
Be here.
are we recording now?
Yes, yes.
Can we stop for a moment?
You could pause the recording if you want. I can pause it. I can pause it on. We can pause it and then
Okay.
just.
Joy,
Ah, perfect timing.
not perfect. You should have come before we unpaused.
No, you get here.
Okay.
Yes, you especially need to be here.
I don't know why I have this. Way too much.
I know, it's very confusing. This is for you.
Thank you.
This is for you. Thank you. We're going to start our meeting now, and we're going to start with the oath of office. So you are legitimately. So what?
Yeah, because we already, we weren't familiar. We did that last week.
But we will each time, even, that's only for those who, even if they're reelected, they get to redo this. As soon as posted. What's up, kiddo? Oh, put the got it.
I'm trying to.
Okay. Please, thank you. Well done. Now it's actually working. All right. The two of you will be taking the trustees oath of office. Ready to do that? Ready?
I don't know. Let's see, where does
I
it?
just handed it to you.
Okay.
Okay, I'll say it, you get to repeat it. You'll fill it out, and I believe our secretary will actually sign it.
Yes, she must.
Thank you for being here to do that. So, I do solemnly swear.
I do solemnly swear
I also do solemnly swear.
Excellent. That I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
States of America
and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge
and
the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge
according to the best of my ability
according to the best of my ability
the duties of the office of trustee of the Troy Public Library.
the duties of the office of trustee of the Troy Public Library.
Ta-da.
Okay.
So if you would fill your paperwork out and then,
Thank you.
and then
Fine.
bring it over to our somehow we'll go over to that table, if you can find it, and it will then go to be recorded. And there'll be something else next month's. In the meantime, I'll ask, do we have any public comment? So next, in the meantime, you want to go and do our treasurer's report?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
I move that in accordance with the recommendation of the finance committee, the board approves the monthly expenses in the amount of $46,415.43.
I second.
All those in favor? Oh, that's you. I always step over my bounds.
Oh, no, you are absolutely correct in doing that. That's fine.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye. And just as part of tonight, because Kristen wasn't here, say that we did buy the treasury bills in the amount of, it's usually $204,000.
Wait, I'm sorry, who seconded that? Oh,
Keith.
Mhm.
you did last month as well, so I don't have to update that.
Are there any other things you want to cover? Okay. Are there any other financial questions or areas to discuss at this point? While we're still in treasury report? We'll take that as a no. All right. Next is our consent agenda. We have the approval of the minutes. I don't remember seeing a building committee
There's a building committee report from last month.
last month. I don't think it's in the packet,
It's not in
but
the packet.
Sorry?
It's not in the
Oh,
packet.
it was not the one that was 3 weeks ago. It was the one that was 7 weeks ago, which I sent out
okay. Well, I think
the
we,
day after our previous meeting. So
did we approve that one last time?
I don't think so, because it wasn't there for the previous agenda.
All right. And we do have an admin committee report and an Upper Hudson and a president's report in there.
So I'm including the building committee report.
Let's do stuff because it's in there. We can,
Yep,
we never really know if people have read it anyways.
fair enough.
So I'm going to motion to approve the consent agenda.
I have a
Yes.
correction on the meeting minutes. Shall I do those now? Or?
Can you give me 1 second, Marie, so I can get to it?
I don't know whether it's appropriate for me to do it now. Or
It's
just
part of
What do
the
you wanna
consent
pull?
agenda.
So we'll pull it from the consent agenda and then we'll do it right after. How's that?
Okay.
So do we have someone to make a motion on approval of the consent agenda, not including the minutes of the meeting?
Moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Marie, would you like to make your correction?
Yes, I'm still searching for them. It's, there was a statement about the adequacy of the board members to address the, oh, here it is, before under number 1, fiscal policy review.
Can you give me 1?
Pardon?
Can you give me a moment?
Mhm.
Just number 4,
Yes, Roman numeral, 4, B4.
B. Wait, fiscal policy, so 1, B4. Okay, I'm there.
Okay, rather than adequacy, I could prefer the term preparation, because I think that's what I was trying to say, was that the board members don't get any training on how to do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other comments, additions, corrections, whatever? Marie?
No,
Edit?
that was it.
Anybody else? All right, then I'll make the motion to accept the, to approve the minutes of the meeting held September 13th, 2022. Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Done. All right, consent agenda is done. Fun stuff. So the nominating committee met and has the slate to present to the board. Here's somewhere. So I'll go top down. For president, we do have a contested position. Marie Gavazzi and Evelyn Greenstein are vying for the role. For vice president, we have Keith Slupsky. For treasurer, Carolyn Fagan. And for secretary, Brianna Cloud. In order to expedite this, unless there's any objection, I would suggest we do the uncontested positions as a block vote, so that we vote for secretary Brianna Clark, treasurer Carolyn Fagan, and vice president Keith Slupsky as a block. So I make a motion to fill those 3 positions as stated in the slate from the nominating committee. Do I have a second?
Oh, I guess I can't.
I guess I'll second that.
Okay. Alrighty, so all in favor? Thank you so much and congratulations to.
Yeah.
Now,
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
we live in interesting times. And now we have to, by our bylaws, carry out a secret ballot for the vice president, for the presidency.
The favorite balance.
Yes, our secret ballots.
There is a link.
There is no lemon juice written on there.
Nothing. Thank you. Rejected.
All perfectly trimmed, all recycled paper. Yeah, one.
Hold on.
And one for Miss Brianna. And then we're good. So what we'll do is we'll put, you please put the name of the person you would like to take on the role. Oh, wait, we didn't do our good part. We didn't do our speeches. Should we do our speeches?
I know, everybody knows. Um, I can do a short speech because that's what I thought. Everybody knows us and will probably base their vote on that.
Part of me wants to read this wonderful speech I spent on this.
Pardon?
Part of me wants to spend, I spent a lot of time writing. Do you want to give a short speech?
I will do so
Okay.
if that's a decision.
All right, I'll read really fast, but I will do this. Okay. Last year, this board gave me the opportunity to serve as your president. I'm grateful for that, and yes, I would like to continue serving the board in that position. Last year, I shared what the board should expect in its president. Ongoing, complete, and accurate communication, a multidimensional view of the library, flexibility, situation analysis, and effective preparation for consequences, community advocacy, and active respect and support of those individuals from board to staff who really are this library. Throughout the year, I've strived to meet those expectations. To do so means being a generalist and a facilitator and sometimes an alchemist. Being intricacy of many aspects of board business includes awareness of legislative initiatives and mandates and carrying out implementation. It's setting our agendas with the director, conducting research, soliciting views and information from you all, and many resources, and creating and editing supporting documents. It's supporting the efforts of other board members. So in Persimmon Marie, we're writing grants. I attended multiple workshops and hearings on each to gather, then share information. It's being involved in community activities throughout our city. I may move more slowly than some would like and faster than others want, but do keep things moving to the best possible outcome finish. I'll often choose courtesy over formality, consistent as humanly and organizationally possible, with appropriate flexibility. I can't claim to be an IT expert, but you have enough skills to carry out board duties. And when I need help, I know who to ask because we have a great and very patient staff. As much as I appreciated being acknowledged as the board's historian, I am so much more. Firmly aware of our present and inspired by a vision of the library's future, what it should be, what it could be. So for all those reasons, I'm asking for your vote for the role of board president. Thank you.
I feel funny, Brianna, with.
I'm listening.
No, I don't doubt that you are, but it just feels strange. So as I said, you all know us, so you have a lot of information on which to make your decision. So I thought that I would keep this short. So I just wanted to talk about my vision. I would love to see the library break out of its buildings, while inviting the community in. So I would like to see us do more outside of our buildings. I'd like to see us expand our offerings, for instance, by having a library of things available to our community. My strengths are my community network. For instance, when the Gilded Age was thinking about filming in the library, they were uneasy, not knowing whether the reading room would be available. And I got an email from one of the employees saying that they had contacted them. And what did I know? And I was able to connect Paul and the city, and so that worked out and we didn't lose them. I'm a problem solver. Paul has said in one of our meetings that he relies on the board to relate to the community because he just doesn't have the time. And I think I mentioned that last time as well. I'm a jack of all trades. An example is grant writing, which I didn't know how to do before. I'm not sure I know how to do now. I believe in the division of labor and enjoy working as a team with the board. I try to measure my actions against what's best for the library. I don't always know what that is, but that's the standard I use. And I support you voting as you believe is in the best interest of the library. Thank you for considering me. Are you giving these all again?
Yes. Our official gatekeeper.
Thank you. Okay.
What do you do if there's a tie? What do we do if there's a tie?
No,
That's
I'm
an
not.
excellent
I'm
question.
feeling
That's right,
one
'cause
right
that's
now, but
never
yes, I
happened,
have
right?
started wearing my gloves, but you know, I got chilled earlier.
It's a question we wonder.
Had to sit.
We once
Next
had
to an
a
electric
situation,
heater,
we had to
so
fill a
it's
board
really
position and there were
nice.
only 6 at the time
Well, I generate
because
my own heat.
someone had resigned and it was like, well, you can't call the person back to vote because you can't get a new person until the old person left. It was a conundrum.
Yeah.
Up to Brunswick.
Luckily it worked out.
The free stuff, right between the.
You just have to hold your breath and hope it
It's
doesn't.
not Brunswick.
Nope.
We'll cross that bridge.
So
when we
just
get to it.
to show these, but you have 4 votes for Evelyn and 2 votes for Marie.
Thank you, everybody.
Congratulations.
Well, thank
Thank you for running.
I will burn
Well,
these
thank you
to
for
the-
running for vice president. You know, I've advocated in the past that the vice president, when the secretary is unavailable, take
I would suggest you take Sanskrit lessons. You're gonna need it to read it.
Well, I don't have to read it.
That would be your job. Type it up there.
That's right, they'll have to be typed.
Now I get the burn these like they're doing the conclave and all that for
Oh,
this.
God, the gray smoke.
Waiter Blackstone.
Even I know what that means.
So we don't want to see any smoke at what we're paying Stance.
Well, the fire department, we missed the fire department being on outside. You had already left. It was fun.
What happened then?
I have no idea, but there was a rescue vehicle there and,
It's a fire chief on it.
yeah, there was a fight,
That one, yeah.
with
Yeah, I don't know what
those
to do.
lights on and the rescue was over there. Anyway, so if we can get back to this stuff, committees, our next fun part. So we all I like to self-designate ourselves to our committees. The only requirement through our bylaws again is that everyone commits to at least one committee. That's the only thing. I do have last year's, but it might be easier to see, go through the committees and see who wants to do what. We first have our finance committee. So we have Brianna and Keith
Beyond that also.
and Marie and just had, I will ask, okay. And Carolyn, you wish to as treasurer be? Chair
Okay,
here?
good idea.
Okay. Excellent. Then we have our building committee. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I put it down. quickly.
Remember, sometimes I'm slow.
Does anyone know if Jerry would like to maintain her current affiliation? Or do we just not for now?
We're going to let her wait until she's back present. How's that? I think I annoyed her enough with notes. Well, so I just, Kirsten, and not Carol. Yeah, okay. I got distracted, not a good thing. And would you like to continue as
I'd
building chair?
be happy to continue in that role if that is, everyone's comfortable and happy with that.
Done. Admin? You do. I think that was a sort of,
Yeah, I was having trouble deciding.
shall we sort of hold off on that or?
No, okay.
Okay. I just realized Silly Upland didn't put her own initials on these. You know, I'm a glutton for committee work.
Evelyn, I'm putting you down for all of them.
Excellent.
And admin, just Marie and Keith and Evelyn for now?
Yes.
Okay.
The president.
Right, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah, but
before the,
Ex officio.
I kind of signed up for every committee anyways. And have since Mary Muller was president and she said, you're here all the time. Why don't you just join the committee? I said, all righty. I think in view of this ambivalence too, I'm going to make a change. Keith, would you chair?
Well,
You've kind of put yourself forward a lot lately. Okay,
I'm starting to feel better as I figure out retirement. Gets cold, I feel
Okay.
better.
you know, as chair of the committee, you have to do the notes for that meeting.
Once you're retired, we give you all the work.
That's good.
Little does he know as VP, there's so much more. No, just kidding, just kidding. The outreach committee, I know it's been very ad hoc and loose over this year, but in its own way, it's been doing things. Interested in the outreach committee? And just to be really specific, I know last year, I didn't realize as clearly till later, the difference between outreach and communications. Communication is a part of outreach, but it is not like we are the communication director. We are not the John Salkas.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, he was the city's communication officer. He has just left.
Never met him.
He's so much.
At any rate.
So it's more, it's outreach.
We
We're
will be
gonna
having an outreach committee. We're not having a communications committee.
Correct.
We're having both.
just outreach.
Okay.
So A is part of B, but B is not part of A. I know last year you were saying that because you added that wonderful friendly amendment to it about not saying things that are not agreed upon, but we're not committed. It's being out there in the community, giving people a really fair and open and complete idea of what's going on at the board level and what's going on at the library
So then communication is handled how?
by talking. And any other kind of
By-
formally, it's through Paul.
But what kind of guidance do we give to Paul as a board?
Well, hopefully he's listening to what we're saying. So when he's asked a question, he knows the answer. I'm not sure how to answer your questions, I must admit, but
So
we can talk about it later.
I think that would be part of the communications or outreach committee, whatever you want to call it.
Outreach.
I would guess.
No,
Would that be fair to say that that might be a
communications. and-
topic of
Yep,
talking about what
we can always,
directions we as a board want to communicate to the public? Is that
I think that's fine.
The
So-
question,
Yes.
Is like fundraising and all gonna fall under outreach, or is that, I mean, we have a pretty aggressive amount of money in our budget for fundraising for next year, so somebody's gotta be doing it. So I'm not sure where that's,
Where it falls.
right.
It's usually been a separate committee. I can't,
do
I
think
see it's a separate,
they do need to work in tandem with each other.
Yeah.
That's,
Right.
I think that is important.
I don't see outreach as always, to me, they're different functions.
So are we going to have a fundraising committee? I mean, we haven't in the past.
we have, and no one's been able, that since Cheryl, just for yesterday, since Cheryl left this board, we haven't had a fundraising committee because we don't really have anyone to kind of take that mantle. Because you have to kind of know more what you're doing. Are you interested? I had to ask, you know, I was gonna ask.
Well, I mean, it's a fair amount of money we're responsible for here this year, more than in the past, so.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be willing to be on the committee. I don't know whether I want to be
In charge.
the chair.
Well, you know, if we have a committee, can we have a committee without an absolute chair? And then can we just do it as a sort of, this is what we need to do, this is how we're doing it, and go forward?
I think that the way to do that would be to have chairs or facilitators for each activity you do. Because there are some people that are better at certain types of fundraising based on their community network or their skills. As I told everybody before I even got elected to this board, in terms of fundraising, I can do a fish fry on the front sidewalk, and after that, I'm a little weak.
The other thing I would offer is that I've seen many boards where the brunch committee is not on the board. Brunch committee is someone who knows everybody in town, and they, yes, I support the library and I'm going to do this event. I'm going to help shepherd this event along.
Mhm.
So I think that is an excellent question. I like the idea of having a chair for each specific event or type of
Chair
event.
for events.
But I think that maybe a committee needs to sort of strategize and coordinate that.
Right, so that you're not having two events back to back or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah, or competing with each other for.
I can think of some questions that I can later in the week email out for discussion for next meeting as to what we would like to do and when we would like to do it,
Okay.
and just stimulate the discussion that way.
And
So,
then what would happen? As to, then you would form a
And
task
then
group, maybe it's not so much a committee, this is a task.
we talk about, next month, we talk about, do we like any of these ideas? And which do we as a board choose to pursue in which timeframes?
It never hurts to have ideas.
Okay.
That's nice of you to offer.
so conceptually, do I hear that people are interested in having a fundraising type committee? But it will be chaired. Maybe no one's going to be at this point named, but you're going to start the ball rolling for next
I'm
month.
gonna ask us
Fine.
some questions later in the week when I ensure I have power back
Okay.
continuously on.
You know,
Sending out-
electric power here, are we talking about?
Yes, for the
authoritative
last
power?
2 days, they have been working on my battery backup to my solar panels, and they're there again tomorrow.
Sorry to hear
So, no, they're installing them. It's a
Oh, good.
good thing,
Okay.
but it means I haven't had power in the daytime for 2 days now,
October.
so I don't do computer work.
Right.
You can have chill beverages. So
the
next month,
committee will be Keith, Carolyn, Kirsten, Evelyn.
yes.
Mhm.
I'm
No.
not my forte at all.
Okay.
so.
That's fine.
Which committee are we talking about now?
For fundraising,
Okay, so the task group idea, okay.
It will not be a committee, it's board.
Well, and particularly because what you're talking about is not a committee per se,
Yeah.
but you're talking about a task. So it may be that I will be helpful on some particular task.
oh, you will be helpful. Because of the questions I'm asking, you're the one who might have some of the answers. You will be helpful, please.
Okay.
I will certainly try. I don't.
Yeah,
I
you
can't
get some
promise
knowledge, I
anything.
don't. You will be helpful. That's why I gotta ask those questions.
Excellent. And just so I have that, that's correct, that's correct, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Fancy.
Yeah.
JK.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So is there a chair for the outreach committee? I didn't hear one. So
We've just been,
Evelyn.
yeah, kind of, kind of, sort of.
Mhm.
Like I said, it's good news. It will probably be more solidified through this year, but I think we've been trying to do some outreach, and communicate loosely. We get some really good input from
Mhm.
about what to do, how to do it, and other ways that we can be reaching out. Not quite up to the standard of putting something in the consent agenda, though. All right. Our fiscal policy review now. Two things. I know we had been talking about, this did get put in the Dropbox. People. Here it is. Here it is.
Is it in our packet?
Yes.
Is it? Oh,
Draft revisions, yes. It is not the whole fiscal policy. It says draft revisions.
I printed it out, so I made.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure that-
It's definitely there. I have one stapling everything today,
Yes, here it is.
so I know it's in there. So I'll give you the whole thing. I'll pull it out towards the back. So this is still in the, what looks like the changes. No one, after last meeting, everyone was asked to send in any comments, suggestions, changes, etc. And I did not receive anybody's responses. So I'm guessing it looks good. What?
Everybody's happy.
Everybody's happy. Now, there is one thing. It is not in this revision, but the Finance Committee met today and talked about the balance sheet. In this sheet here, wherever it says balance sheet, it was underlined because we needed to discuss it. Remember, we had a whole talk about it last month about whether or not we needed to see the balance sheet. And the Finance Committee thought and recommends that the balance sheet be submitted once a year after the audit's been submitted. So we don't review the balance sheet every single month. We don't include it in the packet every month. But after the audit, it will be done on a yearly basis.
Is there a resolution on that?
Well, our thought was that if we approve this where it says that, then we've covered it.
So we need to change this.
We'll need to, yeah, unfortunately, since we did that at 5 o'clock, it's not typed up. So does anyone have any objections here, first of all, to that wording of that the balance sheet will be shared with the board on an annual basis after the audit? And I think you're the only one that wasn't at the Finance Committee meeting.
No objections from me.
No, okay.
I thought we talked about it not just being shared with the board, but also,
Put on the website.
no.
Considering so much of this, we don't put on, and the whole finance policy is going to be put on there anyways. I don't think we always say, we will put this on the website, we'll put this on the website, unless we are legally required to say it will be on the website, like our video conferencing policy. It's legally required to say those words. But we don't do it every single time. I think sometimes repeating what I think of as obvious.
Right, so putting the fiscal policy on the website along, doesn't make the balance sheet available.
We will,
I thought you were,
I think the intent, what I'm hearing here, is that the balance sheet will be posted after we have received it at the end, after the annual audit.
Posted, but was it shared with the board or is it being shared publicly? with the public?
If the board gets it and then
I think
we
that's the
put it
question.
out.
Yeah.
So do we want the language to say the balance sheet will be shared with the board and the public annually following the annual audit? Or do you want it to just say will be shared annually following the annual audit?
I like to share it annually following the annual audit,
Well, and why would,
or posted.
I have no objection to your recommended amendment to share with the board and the public.
Yeah, the addition of the words.
Actually, it wasn't my suggestion. I don't believe it was somebody else's that I
Just
heard.
saying, I was looking at Brianna. I said-
Oh, Brianna.
I was
Oh,
right
okay.
past her. Right there.
And I thought you were looking at
Okay.
me.
Wait, which one?
Yeah.
Will be
So-
shared annually or will be shared with the board and the public annually?
I think it's more transparent to share it with the public as well, and it makes it clear
Okay.
Yeah.
that that's what the intention
I
is.
think the proper way to do it is we receive the audit sign from the auditor, sign off, and then after when we receive it, then we post it.
Okay, but I don't think we have to put all those words in.
Mhm.
I think Brianna's wording covers that, and there's just some things you don't have to reword all the time. I don't think you just.
Well, and to me, to say it's shared, it doesn't say to whom it's going to be shared with. So it doesn't say that it'll be shared with the public. There's no.
Well, Brianna's words
I just
are.
read it.
She
I just
just
read
said
it.
that. Yes.
It says the balance sheet will be shared with the board and the public annually following the annual audit.
Okay, because I heard just shared. so
That works.
So
That's fine.
you agree with the word public? That's fine. Public. Done. So with that as a change to this, any other things? Can we go through the approval of the revisions of the finance policy to make it a complete? All right.
I did bring up last time that, and I wasn't saying that it should be changed in here, but that the policy, I don't know whether it's done here, that the policy that preceded any changes said that both the director and the business manager should sign a conflict of interest statement. And also I've seen in the past that that it was recommended within the handbook or best practices for the director also to sign.
So here under the we could put that under anti-fraud.
It's more a matter of leaving it in because it has been in. I just think if it's in there, then it should be done. Just as I believe, I expressed concern a number of times that the board has not signed that statement. And more recent, last year or apparently this year either, because it's usually done at this meeting.
We've talked about it. We have actually no recollection of anything but the one that we sent to the auditor as being done by the board. But
No, we've signed it at the same time we've done the, and also that's part of the best practices recommended by the handbook as well, or if not by the handbook, then in the sessions that were done.
Would that be covered perhaps by the Constitution of the State of New York?
It was done separately.
Maybe it's redundant.
I don't know that it's redundant.
well,
I signed that with the bid. I think it's standard procedure to do that, but I'll tell you what, I'll look for wherever I saw it.
Yeah, we had previously started to review a conflict of interest policy for the board, and we could at the same time include selected staff.
and then I'll put it in the fiscal policy. Or put it in the fiscal policy.
That's a question I love to ask an auditor. Do I need it there, or can I have it here, or do I need it in both?
We should ask our auditors about this.
Okay. In that
Is it
case,
belt suspenders, or both?
And
We signed something.
right, why was it eliminated? It was eliminated last year. Was
Well,
the
that's-
first year that we haven't
They
signed
put
it.
a question to the
And it
auditor.
Well, but they didn't eliminate it. It was done at this meeting. Along with the oath of office that had been done.
Hmm.
So I guess I'm wondering, why was it eliminated? And according to
or
what I've
perhaps-
seen, that's not good practice.
Or perhaps your question might be, why would we not reinstate it?
Yeah. Conflict of interest.
I'm interested in having it. I just don't know where we need it. And that's, sometimes you can save work by asking a question promptly.
AD and business manager. So we want a statement in there that says a conflict of interest statement shall be signed by the director and the business manager annually.
And work with me.
And board.
Well, we're going to make that into two different statements.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I guess, it had been in the fiscal policy. I don't know why it was taken out. I just want, I know that the board, the director, that has been recommended that it
Interesting.
be done. And we talked about it being that Paul start last year when everybody else signed, but then that didn't happen. So,
See, it would be under the anti-fraud programs and controls. I can't imagine it being in any other section. And literally, this is the 2011 policy. It has not been revised since.
I
So,
had a note on it that it was on page 6, item 9.
it's 79. I wish, too bad you didn't send me that beforehand.
Well, I didn't know that it was going to be eliminated. I'm not saying that it should be eliminated, and I.
But I'm just saying, nothing has,
Last month as well.
these pages here are the only pages that have either had an addition, a revision, a change.
So it has to be.
And this is-
So if, yes, it should still be in there in the policy that's on the website, because literally I did not copy the whole thing.
Right, this is just pages 34, 35, and 36.
These
So
are
it
the
makes-
only,
Okay,
So they will be on page.
Right.
And we,
because when I looked on the website, the one that was put in the board folder at a couple meetings ago, it was there. And my point about mentioning it, previously and today is that we should adhere to it if we're going to have that in there.
but it
And that
is,
hasn't been being done.
and that's fine, but right now, we're,
I think last month we started looking at other districts' language. If I remember right. I think we do that. in
This
the-
signed in conjunction with the audit review?
No,
That's a separate animal.
no, it was signed at the-
conflict of interest should be
every
signed
year
by each
when we
member of
did
the
the
board at
office and
the
everything.
October
Yeah, the
board.
the audit
meeting.
stuff is a separate animal.
Yeah.
So I will again check page 6, number 9. It should not have been changed
Okay, great.
because it should be, but if there's nothing about the conflict of interest statements shall be signed by members of the board at the October organizational meeting. So we put that in the fraud section.
If it's not already in.
It's not in the fraud section.
Oh, I mean, why would you, if it's on page 6, why would we put it in? there?
But she's saying 6 is board,
It's
is
not the
director.
board members. It's
It's
just the
director.
director and the
Okay,
business
yeah.
manager.
Or shall we put it on page 6? In here. Anyone have any?
Well, that's the question.
Thoughts?
That's the
So we can
question.
fix
that
this
we need
by
to
next
ask the
month.
auditor.
Thank you.
Yes,
Whether they need
auditor.
it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can you say that phrasing again, Evelyn?
A conflict of interest statement shall be signed by each member of the Board of Trustees at their October organizational meeting.
Okay.
So we like the statement, we just have to figure out where to put it. And we'll talk to the auditor.
And we had started looking at language. We looked at Albany's and Bethlehem's, and I think a couple of us like Bethlehem's language much better than Albany's.
So I shall suggest that at this point, we shall table this for now and bring it up hopefully for,
And note while we table.
What?
Page 36, you might want to.
well, it'll just say the same thing as it does here.
Yeah,
Balance sheet will be shared.
okay, just as long as we have it in front of us.
Then are we supposed to review this for next meeting, or are we going to get a fresh one to review?
Well, no one has any other issues with some of the other changes in here. I'll strip out all of the annotations and do it as straight and just add those statements. Does that make sense?
So we'll
So
get
it says,
complete
yeah,
fiscal
complete,
policy to approve next month.
exactly. Does that work? All right.
Well, I haven't read it, but, right, was this one of the, it was.
So in order to be ready to vote on this next month, what do people on the board feel that they require?
Sounds like a chat with the auditor about the where. It means a review of page 6, and then the decision if it's going to be put, do that by fiat with the with page 6 or under the fraud
Right,
section.
so you're gonna figure all of that out.
Yeah. No,
And
no problem.
then, do people feel that they need to see the full final document to be ready to vote?
Well, it's on the website, right?
And yes,
I mean,
It will be in the Dropbox. The website has the old one, not the new one.
right,
So-
no, I know.
Oh, that's yours.
It'll be in the full one, will be in the Dropbox.
Right.
Yeah,
We'll have the full one in the Dropbox with the changes, all the changes. It probably won't be printed out. Is that okay? Because there's a lot of pages.
and
is that okay with you, Marie?
No, I actually prefer things electronically.
Okay.
So,
And as long as it's in the Dropbox by the Friday before, it'll be okay to vote on Tuesday.
Does it work? All right. Calendar. Key in Dropbox. And before then, we'll have someone talk to the auditor. Okay. The election process review, do you want to?
yeah, I just want to say that we have printed out what we do in order to get the word out about the election. And that's in your Dropbox, and that's in your packet. There's questions I get from time to time about how do we get the word out? Well, this is what we do on a regular annual basis to get the word out. So I just wanted to let people know so we can speak to what we already do and then what we might want to, what else we might want to do.
Thank you. We just gotta figure out where we store this.
So that's where we are now.
We gotta figure out where we store this, but this is, again, we've been talking about continuity of operations, that kind of thing. This is, okay, now we know where to look it up.
Check boxes, check them off as you do them.
Right.
Well, that's what we do. This is,
We just gotta make a place to
Joy makes a big old list of what we have to do.
The one thing that I think was more, as much as this was a question, was also a question of how do we get the word out that we're looking for people to run for trustees? And so can we include that kind of timeline in here? as
Well,
well?
that's a different ballgame.
Right, but I
do
think we
put-
need to have
We
something.
do put the word out in terms of, well, we put it on the website, then we do an ad in the record, the paper. And that goes out to a couple of different media sources.
Can you do something like that for us, similar to this,
Or-
that's about the trustees or?
or you could just
Is it
add
the
it
same?
beforehand, before,
Right.
Like here,
because it's a voting election.
Preparation.
preparation.
Right.
Yeah, another sheet of paper out of this.
Or you
But
can put it right
I
in.
think in that case, we tend to get people interested when board members talk to people. Rarely do I get somebody who sees a announcement and says, hey, I'd like to run.
I agree with that, but I don't think we want to be perceived as, and it seemed like from the public
We were
comment that we
criticized.
got, that we were perceived as not being open to people, like that we had buried it, that they couldn't see it, that they didn't realize.
We need to,
But you-
I know that, but you know what, I just think that if we have it in writing and we think to do it and we know, okay,
Well, the
by the
problem-
second week, we're doing
The
this.
problem is
We
we
need-
don't do, we don't get the word out, so people don't know this is what we do.
Right.
we need to, as a board, we need to show how we're doing the outreach to invite the public to participate by becoming active on the board.
Well, we received feedback and we want to address that feedback. I mean, we should take it as feedback, not criticism. So we can say, hey, we need to change things. And I think that the comments were geared toward kind of modernizing what we're doing. I mean,
So I think I heard that we placed an advertisement already that we're looking for board members as part of our
Yeah.
annual process.
Yeah,
And presumably that happens sometime before August.
it does, yes.
And we also put
This
things
really
on
is
our
about the election. No, we do the same thing for looking for board members.
And so where does that start in time?
When did we start? We started,
June or July?
no, at least by June.
Okay.
Let's go back in my records, but by June. You know, that you have to get that word out.
Well, I have some good news for the board that next September, the last Tuesday of the month is after Yom Kippur and before Sukkot starts, so it's not a holiday.
don't worry, because I know that you'll take care of it. And make sure we do the right thing.
I got my Chabad calendar over there. We're gonna go first thing. What's September look like?
Thank you.
I was very excited.
Yes, but we don't have any snacks yet for all these holidays.
It's the dairy one.
So I mean, that was my big thing. I just thought that we should have something so that we as a board know this is in my mind. I have something that I can say, oh, it's June. Paul, did we do this yet? You know, so it's not all your fault. You know what I mean? It would be our fault too, that we aren't staying on top of it.
I didn't actively recruit as much as I have in the past. I just was not in my mind. I was,
Well, yeah, I don't know.
I guess
mean,
we were
different
doing
people
grants and
operate
things
in,
like that at that time. And
you know,
Gilded
differently.
Age and.
I think if you're, I guess I always thought if you're sort of vaguely interested in the library and be on the trustees, you might just hit the website at least once, you know, and take a look.
But one of the problems was that it wasn't necessarily visible when you go look at the website. It was buried down below. So that is something that
When
we
we
could
put it
change.
on, it's usually right up at the front.
It'd be on the
Yeah,
front.
but then it
But
gets,
it stays there. for
It would
quite
drift
some
down,
time.
but then it would go right back up again. And then it would drift down and it would go
when
back
I
up
looked,
again.
I had to scroll down to
You
find.
might have just happened to have gone on the website the day it
Well, and
got
so might be,
pushed.
so might have somebody who was interested.
scrolled.
So it,
You had to scroll.
Well, but sometimes
But
it
you
is.
know, people don't know
The only
that.
thing we can do is go door to door and ask you, do you want to be
No.
on the board?
We're trying,
I think
we're
I
trying
think
to
we can get on
identify
this list here
things
that
that we
will
can
help
do.
to start that process.
Did we put it on all of our social media?
As far as I know,
You know, I
yeah,
mean, that's something like, I
Yeah.
don't know what, that's something where younger people might,
yeah.
some young people. Besides me.
Can I weigh in? Can I weigh in?
What?
This is Greta. People don't know how many seats are available when they don't know the term of each of the trustees. So they wouldn't know how many seats are available for the next election. So that's a piece of information. So if in fact there were 3 rather than 2 seats available like this time, and two incumbents were running again, it's a different kettle of fish than if there are 3 seats available and only 2 incumbents. I mean, people who may want to be on the board may not understand if there is in fact an opportunity to be on the board.
One may not know in June if the incumbents are running or not, but certainly in June, we would know how many seats are being contested.
Right.
We already know how many for next year.
Right.
At this point, things can change.
Anyway,
Right.
So is Joy on there? I'm not big school. Yeah. I wanted to ask her whether there's a way to pin it to the top of the.
And keep it pinched.
Well, there's a lot of things now. I mean, you can't pin everything to the top.
Right.
Well, we're not asking that everything be pinned. I'm not asking,
We do it, we
but
do
I'm
it.
asking, this is an issue that has arisen, that we've gotten feedback, that people didn't see it. I didn't see it. I knew to scroll down, and I had to scroll really far down to find it. So we're asking that this one thing be pinned to the top because it's so important to communicate.
Well, so it's the election, though.
Well, but that's part of the,
So we'd have to pin that to the top, because people are going to say the same thing.
Well, but if we started with the board members and we did that in June or July, and then we did the election after that, you know.
We hope we get this thing settled before August, because you still have to have your 25 signatures.
Right,
And those still have to be approved
right.
and reviewed. So, yeah, we'll start that a little bit early.
Right.
So,
and you want to say something?
Yes, I think this question about what's pinned at the top of the website, I think is part of a larger discussion that might be part of the communications group or the outreach group about our website in general. I think the website in general, I think it's been a lot of time looking at that and evaluating and seeing if there are opportunities or deficiencies that we could bring forward as direction, not that we guidance, I guess is a better word. But I think
All caps, green screen.
yes, exactly. No, we don't want to be those people. But I think it maybe there's an annual sort of rotation of what is pinned at the top, or I think it's the board and the board election and campaigning or recruiting board members is one tiny piece of what the library does. The library has many things that are important that should be easily findable.
I will say one thing. I know there were a lot of complaints about people not knowing, and I want to share this interesting comment. So there was an outreach in Lansingburg, one of the schools, and a gentleman came up and really broached the question about renewing his library card, but then said, "Oh, and you're about to have a vote." And I kind of smiled and went, "Well, yeah, 2 days ago." He goes, "Oh, I got the email. I just didn't write down the date." And I'm thinking, okay. You
Well,
get to
at least he acknowledged she got the email.
Yeah, you got the email, but it's that next step of,
this goes out to 11,000 people, but there's 22,000 registered voters.
what was the Upper Hudson say?
We tried to, yeah.
Okay. Upper Hudson's Ordination Services Department sent out an email blast to 11,715 Troy adults to inform them about the library vote and Board of Trustees election. I thought that was kind of fun reading in the reports. It's a
That doesn't mean they all received it. But
Anyway, yes, it's always open to more suggestions. I'm just saying that, that's sort of what we do.
Okay.
And I thought just to review that, that's
yeah,
what we do.
this is certainly interesting. So is there an email blast that goes out that we're looking for candidates for the board?
No.
Perhaps that's something we need to do as well. I mean, it goes to people who are interested in the library.
Well, these are card holders.
Well, we could send it to the email, the newsletter subscribers, right?
Yeah, I mean.
That's an easier thing.
Yeah, I think it goes in that.
You know,
Yeah, it does go in that. But those are actual newsletter subscribers.
But still, you know, that's a more modern way of reaching out to people than we've been doing. That may be more effective than putting it in the record. So that's another way we could improve what we're doing.
But
Perhaps-
I think you said you were already doing that.
No, not for candidates.
Not for the candidates, just for the election information.
And I don't know what the ability is to filter, but you could send it to adults, you know, people who are the age that would qualify. If
Yeah,
they,
this goes to adults.
right, does it go to other than to adults?
Hmm?
Does it go to other than adults?
No, this goes to adults.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, even that other email
Well-
blast wouldn't make any sense because, you know, a 15-year-old can't vote.
well, there are card holders who were children too, in which,
You know, I'm saying you can't send something about a vote to someone, so I'm sure that 11,715 have already been narrowed down to adult card holders.
I don't,
Because I think we have a lot more card holders than 11,700.
but that's not what was said, it was card holders, so I had no way of knowing that. So I think that's another way we could reach out to candidates that may reach more people than to put it in the record, for instance.
Yes. Okay, so we'll go on to the next.
Does anyone have a hard deck? It's about 20 minutes to 7. Does anyone have a hard deck tonight?
You do. Evan?
That's fine.
No, don't be sorry. You're very lucky.
This is your big social night here. I hope we're entertaining.
One other comment on here that I was going to do for the feedback that we received, but there were complaints that it wasn't well enough promoted, that the election wasn't well enough promoted, like big signs should be bigger, and so I just passed that on. I heard that.
Yeah. When we get to that part, we have some interesting feedback. But let's get to that part.
Okay, so not here.
Not here. No, please. Thank you, but next, director's evaluation.
There were most recently just 2 changes made. And the director's evaluation should be in your packet. Oh, thank you. So, and these were based on input from the board. So one of the changes was in section A. The last one down before comments, develops and communicates the goals, vision / objectives / aspirations of the Troy Public Library in collaboration with the board of directors. Any objections to that addition?
Actually, it should be board of trustees. I thought we shortened it. Can't even.
Oh, okay. Okay, with that change, with that correction, is everybody good with keeping that in? And the next one is under facilities management.
Okay. Yeah.
That's C. And again, toward the bottom, it may be a little confusing because we shifted the position from what had been the position when we were discussing this. So essentially, it maintains and shares with board accurate, clear, and complete records of capital work from bidding process to fund cost reports.
So for you. First,
I thought we'd actually taken out the accurate, clear, and complete and just said records.
No, I'd like accurate, clear, and complete. Record, if it just says records, that is a lot open for interpretation.
We may have Keith, and maybe when I looked at it, it didn't make sense to me, so I put it back in. And there was some discussion as to how that might be done. So perhaps that could be clarified further in the building committee. Paul was concerned that it would increase the workload, and I would think it could be done without a big increase. So if we could discuss that further in the, when you're present, that would be really good.
Sure.
Yes, there was some thought about just, again, communicating to Paul that we'd like to see this in the building committee reports all spelled out. And then it gets put in the notes, et cetera, and then it's just a pragmatic way of handling it.
I'm going to ask a question. It says complete. Complete can be very complete. That could, some could say, oh, I want every single piece of paper. That's not what people are looking for. Comprehensive, would that be better than complete?
I like the word comprehensive better.
Me too.
And I just have a thing about adjectives and government documents.
Yeah. Yeah.
And spent a career in it, and they come back to bite.
Yeah, well, complete would be, that would be voluminous and odious and
no.
not what we're asking for. I think we're just looking to have a better, clearer understanding of.
Yep. We were also talking about the fact that maybe if we say, okay, there are 3 bidders, company A, B, and C, we may not put down their exact bids because that could be proprietary information. But we can say a range of, but it's not, we don't follow the same bidding
Yes, I think
process.
that's what we need. We need further clarification as to how it might occur.
Okay.
So there were some other thoughts on,
Sure.
So,
the
Change it.
comprehensive opens that up a bit.
so are people good with that?
Yes.
So it sounds like we finalized this document. Do we need to vote on that?
I would say so.
I make a motion
I'll second.
with including the changes with the corrections that were made here at this meeting.
Are you all in favor?
I,
I'm guessing that's a yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So that passes.
Okay.
The other question was how, if this is done, when it should be administered. There was some feeling that it should occur closer to the budget cycle. I personally feel that it should be, in thinking about it since our meeting, that it should be administered now, as soon as it's done. And
Annually thereafter?
Hmm?
Annually thereafter?
I would like to just see it happen, get done at least now, so without even thinking about, but it could be done annually.
Thereafter.
Yes.
I also brought up the possibility of looking at it at a 6-month point also.
Why? Right, I would do that if I was a new director, but
Or if there are concerns,
Yeah.
if there are concerns that are, then yes, so
I'm thinking, so there's no surprises where, and to try to head off any concerns.
Also, you're going to want to look at it again to see whether it should be modified and or
We did
updated.
make some
So at some point,
modifications.
you're going to want to do that.
We did make some modifications to this document this year. We want to see how it's working before we get 1 year out.
so are you saying you're gonna look at the evaluation again, or you're gonna evaluate Paul twice a year? I'm confused as to what you're saying right now.
I'm thinking that we should do an intern check with our director, and with 6 months in, ask, like, with 6 months experience, ask, is this working for us?
Okay, so that's
Yeah.
like an administration committee.
Yeah,
Review the instrument in 6 months.
review the instrument, and I'm used to getting not only an annual evaluation, but having to sit with my supervisor at a 6-month midpoint. If you guys don't feel it's necessary.
I'll be happy just to see it happen once a year.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're saying you want both? Both the instrument is reviewed and Paul is reviewed every 6 months?
Not a review per se of the director, but just an interim checkup. Yes, not a full, but an interim conversation, discuss, are we on track? Is there an area where the director believes there's a problem? Is there an area where we got questions? Again, I'm used to the way that the state does it. Other people don't necessarily work that way.
And not all parts of the state work that way either.
Yeah.
Listen to what my wife has to say.
This Bell, I think his was annual.
Would you be more comfortable this year just looking at the document again, 6 months?
I think looking at the document again in 6 months is probably,
April. Well, that would be perfect. If we look at it in April, give it another thumbs up and then administer it in April. It's just around the time when we're really getting into the budget. We all have our little.
That's not what we're
Yeah, I
saying.
think where Marie's going is
I'm missing
the
something.
preference to just, since we've accepted the document, do it in the next couple of weeks.
you know,
And the thought being at the 6-month point, sit down with either admin committee or board, and obviously with the director and say, is this working? Is there something we missed? Is there something we didn't spell out or we got overly detailed? See if we're happy with how we did this. Or if we,
Well, which would be more in preparation for developing the version that would be administered.
yes.
So I would suggest that if we're gonna do it, like you said, we approve the instrument, we administer the instrument, that we do it sooner, that we do a review of how it works sooner than waiting, so that it is ready to go by next spring. It's,
ready to go. I think you lost me on ready to go.
well, we're gonna do it, supposedly do it again, if we're gonna administer it again, so.
Again.
But I think if we're going to do this as a beta test, then we actually do the analysis closer to the time of it's being administered and waiting and then going, well, did it work?
I don't think it's a
We're
beta
not
test.
doing a beta test, so, we have done an evaluation before. It hasn't occurred as timely a manner as we would have hoped. We don't consider it a beta test.
But if the point of doing it and then reviewing the instrument to see if it works, that to me says it's beta test of the new.
Actually, it sounds to me
next
that
version.
it constantly is an evolving document. It evolves as the roles evolve in the organization, but that an annual review happens annually with the most current document. Sounds like the 6-month review is an opportunity to review the document and see if the document's getting us the information that we are hoping to learn and communicate. But not that
One
it's
problem
a,
this year, from my perspective, is we took a long time to redo parts of this. And we dragged this out. It's to the point it's painful.
Mhm.
So my question is, when is the right time to use this as an evaluation? And when is the right time to then go, look, do we like this document? Is this document clear? That kind of thing.
Well, the context can change too.
Yeah.
It may not be that the document did not work. It may be that the context in which it's.
So maybe the first question is, do we approve this document? The second question is, when do we want to use this document for the first time? And a third question would be, would we like to do a further look at this at some other point in the next 6, 9, or 12 months? So, may I make a, we have a motion for?
No.
May I make a motion that we approve this document?
We did.
We did.
Okay, so we did.
We did. Done.
So the question then is, when do we want to, as a board, fill this out and use it the first time?
Now,
You're enough.
now. Well, not like right now.
I'm
No, we're not talking
All
now
right.
versus waiting till.
Within the next month, how about that? Is that
It
a
just-
motion?
It just seems so odd, only because of the cycle of things. It seems like such an odd time
We
to
got on a
be doing.
cycle.
We just had the budget, we just had the vote. I mean, there's a lot that Paul was
It may
responsible
help
for.
Paul in coming, for the coming year. I think it makes a lot of sense.
See, now like say, just before you do your budget, then you started doing the evaluation, and you put all those things, but you're looking at salary issues and you're looking at all sorts of fun stuff. So,
Okay, yeah.
but
You had a successful vote. There's a lot of good things to talk about.
How, then, the next question,
no, we haven't quite decided.
Let's
that.
finish the first and
It's
second
a
question.
motion.
Yeah.
Did somebody make the motion?
I so moved.
That we do it.
I'll second.
Okay,
So the motion is that it be completed within the next month.
Yeah.
okay. We're next month. We're talking about
Are we-
administering.
Yes, I understand that. We're doing a vote.
Yep. Yeah, we're voting.
Aye. Great.
Okay, done.
Okay, you had another
the,
motion?
the next immediate question is, are we doing this paper copies, anonymous, or electronically with our names on it? How do you want to do? How do you want to do the mechanics to get this going?
Anonymous.
Administration committee.
Another question is the admin committee doing it or is the whole board doing it? Okay.
Yeah, all board.
The admin committee made this for the board,
Okay.
because the whole board gets to speak up.
And Paul would also like to meet with the whole board, correct?
Well, I think
To discuss the
the
results.
evaluation should be a dialogue. It should be something that give and take, and we straighten out what we mean by this and what we mean by that. So yes, I would prefer to meet in person rather than to be writing a report and then some other people say this and then somebody said that, and
And with,
we're not on the same page.
and with the entirety of the board, not
That's
just,
fine.
okay, that's what I'm asking. It's okay, good.
May I suggest we do that in executive session?
It would have to.
Yeah.
I want to make sure it's clear. That's my
Oh, yeah.
preference and recommendation.
We might not even want to do it during the board meeting. Who knows? We can decide on that too.
Well, we should decide on it now, shouldn't we?
Do we want to do it in a board meeting or do we want to?
Oh, we said we're going to do it within a month. so-
Right, so we either have to do it at the next board meeting
I'd
or.
say
prior to
we're
it.
on an executive session after the consent agenda next month.
Sorry about that.
Like I said, we should go to executive session to review the director's evaluation after the consent agenda next month.
We want to have an executive section in the middle of the board meeting.
Yeah,
Okay.
So this is another, so we're filling this out anonymously, you're saying? And is there one person, like the head of the admin committee, that is going to kind of,
Everyone brings theirs along and we,
yeah, I don't know, is it gonna be coordinated or?
Yes.
I would think it would be filled out ahead of time.
Right, and then are we sending it to someone in particular, or we just bringing it and
We're gonna have to set
everybody
it up.
throwing out?
we get a blackboard and you can
That's-
score it. as you
You're gonna
go.
have to set
We
it
have
up.
talked about it being a Google Doc because that's what's been used.
Okay.
Um, It's up to Keith now, though. Are you going to?
I would have to request assistance from staff on the setup of the Google Doc. Otherwise, I suggest everybody take and hang on to your paper copy tonight.
Well, and right, but my question is, what do we do with it once I fill it out? Do I just bring it with me to the next meeting, or do I give
Yeah,
it
the
to
Google
somebody?
document would be submitted on
Okay.
online,
I
which is
would-
what, because you don't want any particular person to know which one is which either.
Right,
So the idea is
I
that
would need to review it before the board.
right.
I agree.
And so the administration committee has to compile the results.
I mean, rather
And
than,
Joy seemed to indicate it could be emailed.
I've never, like,
Is
where if it's a
Joy here
working
Thursday or
document, you
Friday?
can see who makes what changes. That's
Is what?
Is Joy here and available Thursday or Friday this week? Not this week?
no.
Because you have to
I
sign
don't
into
know.
it.
Because when I
Yeah.
asked about it, and that's what I was.
I think you can do it as a survey.
What did you
I'll
want
do it as a survey monkey.
Survey
Okay.
monkey can be.
what did you want to do?
Or- okay.
To get information on the technical aspects of setting this up.
Hey, they're the ones that set up the anonymous vote for tonight.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's
We
that's
can figure
not
out.
a Google Doc, that's more of a survey.
How to do this, if that's what you want to do.
Yeah,
Yeah, and they helped me with the Google Doc.
So I know when Virginia was collecting information in the Google Docs, you had to provide your email address.
Right.
But then she took it off. There was a reason that you had to do that.
Right, but what I'm saying is if that's the case, and you didn't provide it, didn't ask that it be provided, then that could be anonymous.
Right.
I don't know.
But I was just, like, there's a difference between like a Survey Monkey and a Google Doc, and that was where I was getting confused.
So
Okay,
the
so
last
you
time it
fill-
was done as a Survey Monkey.
You fill it out, so where does it go?
to have to go to Keith. Keith's going to have to coalesce
Once you,
everything,
you fill out the Google Doc, then what do you do?
the Survey Monkey.
It gets.
what I'm probably gonna do is look at 7 of these things
I think the survey,
and start drawing X's under each question.
I think the survey monkey will compile it into a report.
Who does?
No, that's now up to Keith.
And then Keith, you have to get it to Paul before the meeting.
Right now, I know how to do it in paper, I just have to inquire Thursday, Friday, and Monday how to do it electronically.
And
Paper, it would take me 15 minutes to do the whole blasted thing, if I had a big enough table.
and it
On
also
the
is
board.
on the board as well. As to Paul.
Right, yeah, we should see it.
Yeah.
Or the name is on it.
So Keith, you're going to set up a Survey Monkey. We'll share it with the board. The board will complete it by what date?
I don't have a calendar in front of me, I need a. I really like paper pen, folks. Let's see now, we are. That's ideally for me.
And Mondays are,
Or the first day of the week.
Oh, by the way,
I have that problem too,
so
especially because they one way on my computer and another way on my
do
phone.
we want to get this in November 2nd or 3rd? As in a Tuesday or Wednesday of the first week of November?
because the board meetings, the trustees meetings the week after that.
So the first or the second?
Okay, yeah, first, second.
Let's say the first, because that gives a full week.
Actually, the trustees meeting can't be the second week.
Yes, it is.
We need to move it.
It's the eighth.
We need to move it because it's an election day, it's a holiday. We got to fix that problem now.
Why can't we meet on an election
You've done that before.
Is the library closed?
No.
So, no.
Does anyone have any other commitments right now that they know of?
Yeah, at 9:30 at night.
Well, I'll be away, actually, but I can join you via Zoom.
So we do want to try to meet on election day.
Virtual?
I can read virtually.
Yeah, we're never closed on election day.
I'll find my way. I don't
So we
know.
just have to make sure the paperwork is.
I'm
So-
Would you bet?
November 1st or 2nd. Yeah.
No, we're never closed.
Okay,
So we'll complete it by November 1st, and then you'll get it to Paul by this Friday. Work for you, Paul? Friday the 4th.
Oh, the, what now?
So in terms of you getting your results before
Yeah.
the board meeting, this Friday the 4th work. Does that give you time, or would you
Yeah.
like it sooner?
Sooner is better, but
If we have, by then.
by then, yes.
Yes.
By
Does
then.
that mean to Paul and?
Paul and the board by Friday the 4th.
Results to Paul and board.
And then we'll discuss on November 8th.
All right, here's the plan. We good with this one? Adios. Please say hello to Silas first. Director's report.
You know,
Director's report.
if you want to get them to bed, you can just log in remotely. Put them right under.
Yeah, but you can't give them a bath with this.
Put them right under.
Okay.
Yes. We have hired a new librarian for adult services, Erin Meyer. She has some experience at a couple of local libraries, both Bethlehem and Colony, but she also has some experience at Union College. She has an undergraduate degree in broadcasting and political science. And so she had done quite a bit of work with Spectrum News in producing a couple of their programs. Checked with, what's that?
Does she want to be on the committee, the outreach committee?
Maybe that's-
She can do a recorded video.
I'm sorry.
So does that mean we're, the adult services is now fully staffed, Paul?
Yes. Amazingly, no.
Thank you.
Bye.
No, talk about staffing issues, and I just read today the spilling the beans is clothing. All of it is, they can't find enough staff.
Both of them are
The deli grind closed.
daily grind, so.
Oh, well.
Spilling the beans is closed also. Oh, I did it.
End of the month.
I missed that.
But,
When we were done here, I went over there and they closed it too. There.
We have been interviewing library assistants. We are going to be hiring a couple of library assistants for main library. These are part-time positions. And one more for Lansingburg. Lansingburg and yeah, that would fill them and that would fill us here. So we'd be at full staff level at least maybe a week or so. So anyway, that's good. The construction grant, I didn't have to put this in there because we got the check. Yay. Assembly member John McDonald called me the other day and said that the grant for the northeast parapet section was approved. Finally, this is the one that Dasney had for ages and ages. And finally, they sent it back, it was all set. And so he had said, well, he'd like to make a sort of a formal announcement with a press conference here, which we did in the front of the library. He said, well, you know, Cahoes was getting all this attention because of their building, you know, and the building issues and the fact that they had gotten a couple of grants. So he wanted to highlight us. So we had that this morning. It was lots of fun. The mayor was here. Mayor, maybe you know that. Anyway.
Forget Mark's green.
Yeah. But It went well this morning. It should be on some of the news channels. They were waiting to restart the grant upstairs in the reading room. They got scaffolding and they figured out, they got back into the section, the worst section. I think we had some questions on asbestos. And the other thing, they felt after looking at it that probably foam would be the way to go on the drains.
On the drains,
On the drains, yeah.
Foam in terms of re-insulating, or foam in terms of replacing the pipe, or foam in terms of.
Foam in terms of insulation. Even
If the
though
pipe's in good condition, it sounds reasonable.
it should be, and also they had noted, because they had already opened it up, that we had a pretty hefty storm right around that time. And there are no leaks, coming in. So we're pretty sure that's condensation on the pipe, on the drains.
oh, condensation caused the issues.
Yeah, condensation. Well, it makes sense because, that area is cold and the room is warm and. you
Especially
just
up in
get
the ceiling.
condensation. Yeah. So that's, we hope to start back up in the next few days.
That would be good.
Yeah,
That's good.
want to get that done. Yeah, the kitchen is done, by the way. That has been completed. We did contact the New York State Retirement System. They sent us the form. We submitted a roster of staff again. So we're moving forward with that.
Is the roster of staff, is that the roster, full roster staff, or is this a roster of staff who are interested? in
It's what
participating?
you got now.
And then that process, next steps will be that.
Well, yeah, that's what we're waiting for. What is the next step? So we asked them, yes, here's the roster. Tell us what the next step is. So we're waiting to hear.
Thank you.
The election went pretty smoothly, and there were only 2 no votes on the budget for the main library and only 8 from Lansingburg.
Yeah, that confuses me because at one point I saw that there were 13 votes against.
That was a total.
2 and 8.
It's 10.
Yeah, no, basically that's what we got.
Okay, at one point it said that it was 13
Yeah, no,
on
I
the website.
rechecked everything and that's what we got.
Okay, because when I looked, well, first time I looked, there was something like 449 in favor.
And that was an error and,
How did that happen?
Typos.
it was just transposed incorrectly when they were doing the counting. The next day when I came in and I rechecked all of the numbers and figured out that they had transposed, instead of being 249, it was 449. Couldn't have been 449, not that many people voted.
Right, it looked very strange.
If you look at the results for the 2 candidates.
Yes.
So it's just a matter of they had transposed that one. But it was pretty much an overwhelming result. So
Amazing.
we were pleased with the support, and we get a lot of good support from folks. So
Okay, I had, copied the votes down. I'm pretty sure that I had 13 votes against,
yeah, that,
based on what was posted to
I
the
had,
website, so.
I had recounted and redone that, and this is what I got.
So that was wrong on the website too, for 13 votes.
Yeah.
anything else from, as a report?
That's it.
Okay, and then we have an action to take to approve the hiring of Aaron Meyer. And just to clarify that our approval of that hire is really our appointment of her.
Our acknowledgement.
We use the word acknowledgement to acknowledge when staff has left. We actually need to approve, i.e. appoint Aaron Meyer to her position. So when we go through the approval process and vote to approve, we have therefore appointed, because the director hires, board appoints. It may sound like a matter of semantics, but that is the way it goes. And usually you do the motion
A motion to
to,
appoint Aaron Meyer as librarian one.
The documentation I found, which was based on the Library Trustee Association, was described it as a board, it's the board's authority, but they delegate the hiring. And so that's why it's not just acknowledging, it's the board is actually appointing, and I put that on the.
however, if you usually go to the handbook and you talk about the handbook, and I know you also always ask what page. So page 44, so education laws specifies all personal actions must be approved by the Board of Trustees at a legal meeting. This does not suggest that the board selects staff other than the director. It does mean that the board creates all positions, establishes salaries, and formally appoints the staff upon the recommendation of the director. In other words, quote, the director selects, the board appoints. So it's very similar, but the way he's worded it, it sounds like we have.
I see you have a.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. Thank you.
It never made much sense to me that we were just acknowledging why vote. So that's
We've
why I
never
found it.
used the word acknowledge for a hire. We've used the word acknowledge because we do not have the same fiduciary responsibility for those people leaving. But there is something in that handbook at one point that said you acknowledge when someone comes and someone leaves. So we acknowledge that they have left because it does change our financial structure in a way. So we acknowledge they're leaving, but we approve their hiring. So I believe there's, oh gosh, where am I? The motion's there. Did we get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, let me just. S and then G. All approved?
Aye.
Okay. Discussion, appointment, knowledge. Handbook, I'm sorry, just want to make sure I have this. Just got it, thank you. Okay, what time is it anyways? Oh, the new business. Well, you had gone through some of the items in the Dropbox. I did put in as well-written a transcript of our discussion of the mission statement as I could possibly do, trying to.
Is this under old and new?
I'm just bringing up, yeah, okay. And I thought that if we had time, we could revisit in old new business, but I think it is getting kind of late and we are down to right now. So,
Could I just bring up some?
oh, please, yes, please.
So, and this is, used to be my job, and then obviously it's not anymore. But I was in Market Block Books, and they wanted to set up the I Love My Library shopping event for November 13th. So I just wonder if that's okay with you.
Which is a Sunday.
Yes, it's always been a Sunday,
Yeah.
but that November 13th.
Thank you, sir.
That's not right.
My 45th high school reunion is November 12th. And the way that works out, that's also a 3-day weekend. Because Veterans Day is that Friday.
We call it a shopping day for you.
I Love My Library shopping day. So we just need somebody on staff to actually, or I know the Friends got involved, but also like when I was on staff, I was the person who kind of did up the flyers and things like that, so. If you want to pass that information.
I can appoint them.
You can appoint,
I can appoint them.
you can appoint Chloe.
No, you can hide it.
Sorry.
Any other old new business from anybody else? Okay, anyway, so there is keywords in there, and there is also a list of a visual list of different mission statements from other libraries. So
Aggregated all in one place.
all together, some that were shared last month, copy and pasted those, and some from other libraries that I've been hunting around. I did pick some of the more, sorry for any library I'm insulting, the more energetic libraries in our area, and also the ones that are dedicated seats on Upper Hudson's board, because that means they're meeting the population that we are, or something close to that. So I think I put Albany. Maybe I did. I have to check that. Anyway, so they're in there. So for perusal, for hopefully next month, we can continue our discussion. I didn't want it to drop completely.
And I heard a really good one today. This is about food, and that their goal, their mission was to eliminate hunger in the capital. I thought that was pretty good, pretty concise.
Right.
That's nice. Really good work. Okay, so any other old new?
Let's see, we got your president's report and.
Community feedback.
Well, as I said earlier, there, I did get feedback that the material wasn't prominent enough on the vote. That they felt the signage should have been bigger and should have been more prominent.
We got that letter.
Well, tell me about the letter. I didn't see it.
And you may be talking about something the same person said.
Could be.
All right, this is a letter from Hannelore Wilford. I know someone who used to work here who says that is how she pronounces your name. Member of the Troy Public Library, citizen of Troy, and a previous board member, by the way. It is to the board. It's about the city vote on the budget for the public library. And I am going to read it, so we have all heard it and shared it, and then I'll put it in the Dropbox. Just received this today, by the way. Members of the board, I had intended to attend your meeting today. Unfortunately, I had a time conflict due to an external Zoom meeting. However, I want to apologize for losing my temper on the day of the budget vote. The basis of my irritation was how the importance of this vote was presented, not just this year. Yes, there was an email blast, but barely in time. Did all members of the library receive this? I asked the Secretary of Washington Park Association to pass this information on electronically to citizens almost in the neighborhood of the library. On arriving at the library, a modest sign barely called attention to the voting. Upon entering the building, no sign, certainly not an obvious one, to direct the voter. Why, of all places, did the voting take place upstairs, dim light, and sort of tucked away? To me, the setting continued the mood of charity, heading on the fickleness of the moment, the very method in which the library struggled to maintain itself until Ms. Mary Muller, a former board president, took steps which led to the current tax-based budget. It is an achievement, but it does not state that the administrators of the city of Troy regard a viable library as part of a modern city. I don't know the development of the Albany library system, but their libraries are very present and project strength. Troy library system achieves much under difficult conditions, but it needs to make itself heard more often and regularly. Though Troy no longer has a newspaper, still, hours accessible during the week and on Sundays. Adult book group Special programs for children and young people should appear regularly in the free county weeklies. It is the library that needs to shout, "We are here for you." Thank you for perhaps listening to me. And Laura Wolfred, October 11th, 2022.
That's a very- Take the time to write the letter. And I find that she does go both ways. She's not just critical. She also comments positively when she likes something that's occurred here as well.
So. I was at least one person's, it's hard, we do try to get the word out. We try to post this, it's not just in the library. We put those bookmarks out in different places. We put those,
I think
take those signs around businesses in Troy, some closer to Brunswick,
Well, there's a big sign when you walk in that has the budget and the trustees, you fall over it.
so what I'm hearing is that this is something that the outreach committee perhaps could, as part of their mission and improving communication. And there are many places and times where we can speak more effectively, perhaps.
I thought it would be nice if for instance, the Friends of the Library welcomed people and directed them. Particularly, I mean, it was different when it was right here, so it was very obvious, but, people walk in, they look around, they're not quite sure where to go. But I think the staff helps with that.
there's usually a sign that says vote upstairs.
Directs them. I
Well, you
mean,
have to look all over for that sign.
No, you
What
walk in there. it
But
is.
apparently people are missing it. So
And then you go upstairs and you're not really sure where to go. Once you get upstairs, people are looking around. But that's just my observation. I don't know that there's some.
There's signs, the big arrows that say,
Is this the first year it was upstairs?
No.
No,
Mm.
we started doing this basically to give us more space. It felt that it was crowded in here, and with a pandemic going on, that's not a good thing. So a couple of years ago, we started upstairs. Nobody has said to me that they couldn't find where to vote. I don't know.
I was in and out fairly quickly, just, okay. Yeah.
And the staff was aware of people coming in to vote and was directing them, but they also were directing people who obviously needed the elevator to the elevator,
I just thought it would be nice to have people welcomed.
I think you gotta be a little bit careful about having, people who are not on the staff, because of electioneering. I mean,
Yep.
you can't really
Yeah, the
do
Friends,
that.
the Friends had one suggestion, big balloons and all this other thing, and members of the league were like, yeah, I know. Like, you have to be back X steps, you have to do all this other.
25 years of working polling places and municipal elections.
Yeah.
There's always going to be somebody complaining about something.
Oh, yeah, no, it's true. Not much else you can do about that.
So just a bit more on feedback, community feedback. Just today, someone made a comment again about the parking. Not being able to park here is a little perturbed. And this is a general community feedback, part of that Lansingburg outreach. I was just so inspired. This is for me too, to say, because it's not one comment, by the support that so many people at that school had for the life. So many. I stopped at the desk, got material, we're taking things, suggesting programs, and talking about the vote and how they voted and that they, support their library. They had their own version of Monopoly. And one of the squares is the Lansingburg Public Library, which of course there's something about, it's not the public library, but
They always do that.
it still, it just shows that
Part of their community.
community.
Yes.
And I just wanted everyone to know that it was just so heartwarming. I was just so thrilled.
It's a great idea. Yeah, downtown, in Troy, in general.
And, because we say Lansingburg, but you know what? I don't know what the demographics are there now, but people care about the library. You can't forget that. So I wanted to share that. Yes, please.
I'm sorry, you were gonna say any additional?
Yeah, I was gonna say any additional. Yes, please.
When I was going out collecting signatures, I did run into a couple people who felt that the library, there was a dearth of programs at the library. So maybe it has to do with outreach, more effective outreach. Maybe it has to do with the variety or type of programming. I don't know. One person did say that they did get the newsletter and that they do read the newsletter. So presumably they're seeing what's in the newsletter. I think in some quarters, there's a desire for more or new, different programming.
Well, I think part of it is, during the pandemic, there were many fewer programs that we did.
Yes.
We tried to do some things online, and that was somewhat experimental.
Yeah.
And, we're just now getting back up with programs, so.
Certainly, my sharing is not a criticism. It's-
Right, and I do think some of it is staffing.
Yeah, staffing.
Now that they're up to a full staff, I'm sure.
Well, that was another problem, yeah.
it's huge.
That was a huge.
Well, do the reptiles come out in the evening?
Is what?
The reptiles?
No,
They come out in the evening. The
The reptiles
reptiles
were very
come out.
successful.
Yeah.
It's a, there was one day, there was literally one person on adult services for the day. And it's gonna be repeated again, I think this Saturday.
You mean on staff or in terms of visitors?
Staff,
Oh,
staff.
That's
It's still tough.
Yeah.
happens, maybe more than one. And I guess, that's one of the things that I will discuss with the board, maybe in the evaluation process.
Mhm.
We're not a huge library with a huge budget. I mean, Gilderman has 60 people on the staff.
right, right. And their budget
We
is,
don't have anywhere near that.
Mhm.
So the director, in my position, in a library such as this, size-wise and also budget-wise, is an operational director, not so much a philosophical director. You have to keep that in mind. When I come in here and I don't have enough people, I got to do something. Or any number of other emergencies that come up.
Like spending time on desk yourself? Kirsten, I'll offer you a suggestion though. When people say that, forget the newsletter, to be honest, because while it tries to keep up, nothing is as up to date as a calendar on the website. And tell people to keep checking the calendar, because even if we print out anything, 2 days later, there's a whole bunch of new things. Certainly what's going, the Berg, Lansingburg branch is gaining momentum in theirs. Certainly there's been some interesting programs here. There is one in particular that just expanded itself. It's a coloring in wine class that started off as a couple months experiment and is now going through December because it just expands every time. So there's more innovative programming. There's
so much
it's coming.
programming, it's on the website. It's not possible to do it as a monthly newsletter.
Exactly,
Change all the time.
can't,
Check
or
the
even a
calendar.
weekly,
It
even a
is.
weekly.
It is, because whenever a new program comes out, it goes on the calendar first.
So when I do outreach, I always say, go to the calendar. Keep going to the calendar. Here's this. But first of all, we can't print everything. We can't talk about it because there's only so much room. Go to the calendar on the website and see what you know.
So activities aren't planned more than a week
have?
Well, yeah, some of them are, but some of them come up, you know, like, I would say, book discussion, you know, when we had the book discussions, they were playing books, and they would all go on there and Zoom. But they go on and kind of get to play them, so.
And I would think that, you know, I'm sorry, but I don't think to go check all the time, and I'm on the board of the library. They talk about push and pull. I, in the past, when I've been involved with organizations, have appreciated it when someone sent me a weekly email saying, here are things that are coming up, and reminded me of those things. And I know, Keith, you said you don't like getting it, but then you don't have to sign up for it. So,
Push and pull.
yeah, it just doesn't work for me, and it probably doesn't work for a lot of people. I think that we should be doing weekly emails, people who are interested in knowing.
Yeah, I mean, that's something.
And Facebook, I mean, even if you put things on Facebook.
Well, normally what happens is the week before a program, it goes on Facebook and it goes on Instagram.
Right, so even if it's put on Facebook, somebody looks once a week, you don't necessarily get all the things that get been posted during the time since you looked before.
Right.
So I'm a big proponent of a weekly email, and other libraries do that, you know?
I mean, that's obviously something up to, that's an operational thing, whether they have the staff or whatever to do that. But now, like, what's happening at your library this week? Email.
This week,
Well,
TPL.
we haven't done it on a weekly basis, that is true.
Mhm.
We get some negative feedback about spam. I,
That's not winning.
I get this stuff every day in like this. And I could just strangle some of those people. So, I don't know, I mean.
But if you have people sign up for it, it's their choice.
But then you're gonna have all the people that don't sign up for it and say,
Well,
I didn't know.
So you
Yeah, I
have,
know.
But
that
at
doesn't
least
mean
you're
in
getting
lieu of.
more.
Exactly.
You
You have-
can say to
Right.
them,
You
if
sign up.
Then you'll
Right,
get.
and you get the calendar too. So you're saying you got the calendar now. This is in addition to the calendar. So, yeah, but I think this is something that really belongs as a conversation in the outreach
Yeah.
committee.
Yep.
To,
So I have one more thing for feedback. I spoke to somebody today, the library happened to come up, and his comment was he always sees such pleasure in going by and seeing everything that he described on the chalkboard, all the programs that the libraries provide.
okay.
So that's some positive feedback.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I ran
I missed
into-
the positive.
I ran into somebody who, when the library came up, talked about how much he likes to see all the things,
I like
programs
this
and
talk
such
inside.
that are listed as offered by the library.
And they do such a colorful job too.
So it's good to hear the positive as well as
oh, of course.
Mhm.
the negative. You need both.
Oh, actually, it says the date and time of the next meeting is the second.
No, November 8th. Mine is November, yours says something different?
Well, this must have been the one that came out. This was the one that was in the Dropbox.
Yeah, I
I
have
printed it
it.
up. Okay. There you go. Wow, I just printed out stuff from the.
Oh, you're gonna get back to us with the Survey Monkey in terms of, and timeline will be spelled out.
I'll just make a couple of changes
Yes.
and send it on to you,
Thank you.
if that's good for you.
So I think we have reached our conclusion.
Motion to adjourn.
Good.
Second.
Everybody seconds. Everybody approves.
Unanimous.
Thank you, Keith.
I'll see you next Monday. Or maybe.
Or soon.
Have a wonderful Thursday.
Yes, yes, very exciting.
Can I just remind you guys that somebody will have to stop the recording for the meeting?
Do we have to hit something or just close the machine?
Any
I
feedback?
don't know. Joy just asked me to remind you to stop the recording.
Got it.
Oh, yeah. Any public comment, folks? Even though we just adjourned sillily. I think Virginia's the only one on.
Thank you.
I have something to say.
Virginia? No.
Go ahead.
Virginia, are you there?
I'm here.
You have any more comments? Any comments?
Not specifically, just congrats on getting the budget passed. We're very excited that you guys were able to support that and follow through with it. So thank you.
It's because of all the good work you do. Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Bye.
Thanks. Thank